So I saw a little clip on YouTube. It was another trainer doing some stuff. This guy I've got a bunch of respect for, and somebody that's really well known. But it just kind of brought a question in my mind. So I'm not coming to you. This is going to be different than what I usually do, where I say this is this and this is this. I'm coming down here today with a question of why do we do this? What's the point of all this? So what was going on is the trainer had a young horse, and the horse looked to be 4 or 5 years old, but relatively green still. And the trainer walks over and grabs the tarp and says, "Let me have the tarp." This horse hasn't done this in a while, so he's going to be a little reactive to it, and goes to rubbing it with the tarp. And the horse goes, "Ah, yikes, you're rubbing with the tarp." And he says, "Yeah, I've done this before, but it's been a while since we've done the tarp exercise." And so he's a little ouchy about it. And the horse wasn't very ouchy about it. The horse wasn't very ouchy about it at all. But he says, "Yeah, I've done it a while, and it takes a while, and I'll just keep doing this. Over the course of the years, I'll just keep doing this over and over and over again from time to time to where the horse eventually is just totally desensitized to the tarp." And I'm watching it, and I'm like, cool, but why? Like, why? Who cares? What's the point of rubbing him with a tarp? Like, you can get him, you can spend 3 or 4 days, an hour a day, and spend 3 or 4 days, or depending on the horse, might be 35 minutes. Whatever the case is, you can get them to where the tarp is just a completely non-thing. You hang it on their head, you can get them to come in the Coleman tent with you and have breakfast, whatever. You can do it. It's not that hard. But why? What's the point? Like, what's the point of rubbing one with a tarp? I've been horseback my entire life. I've never had a reason to rub one down with a tarp. Even packing, I've packed some, and there was a couple times where we wanted to tarp our packs because it was going to get rained on, and we didn't want our bedrolls to get wet, or we didn't want something to get wet, or whatever. Who cares? It wasn't a big deal. We just did it. Like, oh yeah, the mule's a little worried about this or whatever, but you just get it done. It's not that big of a deal. So that's my question: is what is the point of desensitizing a horse with a tarp? And then later in this little video, like I said, I watch YouTube too. In this little video, then the trainer lays the tarp down on the ground, and he did say a great thing, that he wasn't going to try to ride the horse across the tarp without it being piled with dirt, to where if the horse stepped on it and it came to him and scared him. That was a good piece of advice there. But then he goes to lunging the horse around and lunges the horse over the tarp. And again, I'm going, well, why? What's the point? I don't get it. Again, I've been horseback my entire life. I've never ever had the opportunity where I needed to ride a horse across the tarp to get something done. I will concede that possibly in some of these competitions, these trail ride extreme competition things, that maybe that's part of the course, where you got to ride them across the tarp, or rub a tarp on them, or whip them with tarp, or whatever. I don't know. If that's the course, then yeah, train them to that. But just to do it, like, I don't get it. Ride them across the tarp. Like, I would never ride a horse across the tarp, ever. There's nothing that would ever get me to ride a horse across the tarp. Because if something catches, especially if the horse is shod and something catches on that tarp, now that tarp is hooked to you. And if that horse doesn't react, like, oh my God, now a tarp is hooked to me, then he's an idiot. That I don't want to ride that horse. I don't want that horse that will not react to that tarp. I want a horse that goes, good God, something's got a hold of us. I'm going to get you out of here. Hold on. That's the horse I want. And so to ride him across the tarp, I don't get it. Unless it's, like I say, and I'm not trying to negate anybody's bidding ass. If that's part of your course or whatever, fine, cool. Get him across the tarp. ride across tarp, lunge them across tarp, whatever the deal is. It's not that hard. And if that's what you need to do and you don't know how to do it, like there's a ton of these guys that do know how to do it. Look them up. They're great at it. It's really not that difficult. I just don't understand the point of it. Rubbing them with the tarp, riding them over the tarp, lunging them over the tarp. Because if it's not a specific part of an event where you have to do that in a competition, what does the tarp have to do with anything? And the reason I say that, and you can say, and many people probably already are thinking this in their head, well, Brett, we want to get them really exposed and really desensitized. It doesn't translate. It will not translate. Put them in the round pen, rubbing them with that tarp and everything and doing all your stuff, and you can hang it over their head. You can wear it like a cape. I've seen guys do that too. Riding them over the tarp, it doesn't translate to the real world. Then when something happens that is not translatory, sounds like a real word, and it might be, but I'm going to use it. That is not translatory to what actually happens. What is translatory, if this is an actual word? Translatable? Translatable. I like translatory better. That sounds so sophisticated. Whatever the case may be, what actually works is the horse has a bunch of confidence in itself, and it has a bunch of confidence in you, and it has a bunch of confidence in we can get through whatever this scary situation is and keep doing our work, and we're focused on our work. I talked about it. And the other thing with paint was how to make a bomb-proof horse, get them broke. That's how. So rubbing them with a tarp and stepping them over a tarp, I'm asking you guys, and I'd like to see this in the comments. I'd like to see this in the feedback, because I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. What's the point? I don't get it. Peace out. Have a good day.